Insurance isn't one size fits all. That's why drivers have enjoyed Progressive's Name Your Price tool for years now. With the Name Your Price tool, you tell them what you want to pay, and they'll show you options that fit your budget. So whether you're picking out your first policy or just looking for something that works better for you and your family, they make it easy to see your options. Visit Progressive.com. Find a rate that works for you with the Name Your Price tool. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
Every team, every topic, everywhere. This is Believe.
Looking for these better days.
It is Wednesday, July 22nd. I'm Scott Seidenberg. Here's what you need to know to make today a better day. The Red Sox did not get their franchise-tying record 15th straight win last night, only because they didn't play. We'll get to Major League Baseball and a whole lot more here on this episode of Better Day, presented by FanDuel, as we are joined by David Behrman. Betting with Behrman, of course, is the podcast on this Believe Podcast Network. And David, the Major League Baseball trade deadline is fast approaching. We are at the point where teams have to make a decision. Are they going to be buyers? Are they going to be sellers? And for a team like the Boston Red Sox, who, yes, last night got rained out with the Orioles, and it seems like rain's the only thing that can stop the Red Sox right now, 14 straight wins now has them as a team that might be in buy mode as opposed to in sell mode, which many people thought they would be about a week and a half ago.
Yeah, if you were looking at just before the All-Star break, there was nobody in the league that thought the Red Sox would be a buyer. You know, they were, 10 games under 500 at one point, and they had a nice little win streak before the All-Star break, but people still thought this is not a good team. And to be honest, I still don't think it's really that good of a team. But 14 wins in a row is 14 wins in a row, and they're doing it on both sides of the ball. They're right there in contention. They're only 4.5 games behind your Yankees and 6.5 games out of the division lead. At the end of the day, I don't think they win the division. Could they get a wild card? Sure, there's a million wild cards to be had nowadays, and I think that change in the playoff structure to add the extra wild card has kept teams more interested in potentially buying or at least not selling than they would in the past. Like, what do you do if you're the Texas Rangers and you're 50-50? You're right there in the middle of the race, even though in previous years that you and I grew up with, 50-50, you'd be selling. But right now you're 50-50 and you're like, well, I'm right there on the cusp of a wild card spot for what that's worth. Maybe I'll buy.
No, it's a great point. And, we thought the Marlins were going to be that team as well, right? When they go on their run and everyone's considering, well, the Marlins are only 3 games back of the Braves in the division. Heck, I came on this podcast and I was giving out Clayton McCullough as the manager of the year in the National League and why we have to bet that. And the Marlins are this incredible story. The best story in all of Major League Baseball is the Marlins. Well, David, they've lost 7 straight games now. They're 6.5 games back in the division. And if you look at the wild card standings in the National League, they have fallen out of the wild card. They are a half game back of the 3rd wild card.
On behalf of Marlins Nation, which is probably stretches 10, 12, maybe 14 people deep, I take full responsibility for this. I jumped in on a Friday last Friday, and I said, hey, it's about time to start playing those Miami Marlins. And I went on CBS Sportsline. I gave them out as a play and said it's time. Like, they won 6 in a row. They had won 8 of 9. They were 10 games over 500, in full control of a wild card spot, and within spitting distance of the Atlanta Braves in the NL East. They haven't won since, Scott. 8 straight losses. They have not won since. And I'm not one that subscribes to mushes. Obviously, if you think about it, me picking them a week and a half ago has absolutely nothing to do with the losing streak. That said, I picked them a week and a half ago, and they have not won since. So I will take it on the chin for those superstitious mushers out there. The Miami Marlins, that is fully my fault. I went on national TV and picked them to win that night. They lost 2-0 to the Cleveland Indians. Got swept by the Indians, then got swept again, and now they're going to get swept by the Houston Astros. They have not won a game since I said go ahead and bet on the Miami Marlins.
It is your fault. It is your fault. It's absolutely your fault. I did give out also as part of my futures portfolio Zach Wheeler to win the Cy Young in the National League last night. Zach Wheeler, hard luck loser. Guy pitched well and just picked up the loss. He is now 10-2 on the year after allowing 2 runs on 5 hits in 7 innings, 9 strikeouts against the Dodgers, but a Max Muncy 2-run home run in the 4th inning was enough for the Dodgers to get the 2-1 victory over the Phillies. Wheeler's ERA is at 2.16 on the year. And I still think Wheeler's got a shot to win this Cy Young because we know wins and losses don't mean anything. Yeah, 10-2 is a nice figure, but the 2.16 ERA is still very impressive. Yes, Christopher Sanchez, his teammate, has better odds than him, and Jacob Mizorowski is a favorite, but Miz's number keeps fading. He was minus 550 at the All-Star break. He was minus 350 yesterday. He's minus 250 now, and I think it's going to keep going up because people need to start to realize that the Brewers are monitoring his innings. He's going to get shut down. He only pitched 4 innings against the Mets the other day, so I still think I'd rather have a ticket on Wheeler than Christopher Sanchez. Wheeler's at plus 950 now. Sanchez plus 650. Oh, by the way, Chris Sale is plus 750. What do you think about the NL Cy Young picture?
I mean, I still think Miz wins it. I mean, his numbers are insane. And yes, they are going to monitor his innings. And he maybe shut down at one point before the end of the season to save him for the postseason. Nice young arm. He's just that far ahead in terms of the metrics, in terms of what he's done. That said, if you don't think that's going to last and you think he may miss a chunk late in the year to save him, then I think you're right. I mean, obviously the Phillies have the 2 pitchers, whether it's Sanchez or Wheeler. Wheeler has been the better pitcher of late. I actually picked Sanchez to win the NL Cy Young before the season started in a column that I wrote for Prize Picks. I still like that ticket. I got it when the season started, so I still like it, but I think you're in the right boat with Wheeler. It's going to be one of those 3 guys. I just think, I mean, you're talking about a sub-2 ERA, and if that continues, it's hard not to give the guy the Cy Young when he's a sub-2 ERA.
So I heard a lot of people on a lot of different shows yesterday when talking about the futures market in Major League Baseball and the Boston Red Sox and the streak that they're on. And yes, they got rained out last night. So, and they were pushing their pitching rotation around anyway, like pushing Ranger Suarez and whatnot. But Sonny Gray, who is 12-1 on the year with a 2.48 ERA, right? He is 27-1 up on FanDuel to win the American League Cy Young Award. I heard a lot of people yesterday on different shows talk about Sonny Gray as the ticket in the American League. Can you get behind a Sonny Gray Cy Young ticket, or is Cam Schlittler, Dylan Cease, Drew Rasmussen too tough to overcome at this point?
I think, 27-1 is a hell of a number to have on a guy who is a sub-2.5 ERA, 12-1 on the season. As hot as they come right now, he has more quality starts than anybody in the American League. I mean, Schlittler is your leader for a reason. Dylan Cease is there, but Boston right now is a story. Let's put it this way. If Boston somehow takes over that division, then I think I know it's more of an MVP play than a Cy Young play, but if at the end of the day, Boston wins this division out of nowhere and Sonny Gray is sitting at, at that point, maybe he's 16-2 with a 2.25 ERA, you'd almost have to get to that point. Right now, you're talking 27-1, so there's tremendous value on it. But the other guys are leading for a reason.
Yeah, for sure. All right, that'll wrap up the Major League Baseball conversation for at least recapping what happened yesterday and what the awards market looks like. We have double headers today in Major League Baseball. The Pirates and Yankees are playing a double dip. The Orioles and the Red Sox are playing a double dip for those games that were canceled yesterday. And you guys already know my strategy. I bet the loser of Game 1 in Game 2 of the doubleheader. Now, while this year it's not as profitable as it's been in the past, you go back to the 2021 season, you're up over 20 units just doing this, just blindly betting the team that loses Game 1 of a doubleheader to win Game 2 of a doubleheader. Can you get behind that, David?
I can get behind that because there's value in that, just in the fact that most of the doubleheaders wind up getting split anyway, and especially the second one, which isn't necessarily using a good pitcher. Sometimes it's a call up from the minors or a middle reliever. I did want to ask you, How mad would you be if you had bet a no-run first inning and you watched a Pittsburgh Pirate outfielder spike the ball when trying to throw it in? Not sure I'd want to bet a no-run first inning. But again, if you're dealing with the Pittsburgh Pirates, you're asking for it to begin with.
I have lost so many nerfies and yerfies in the most bizarre fashions that like nothing surprises me anymore. Like I've lost yerfies where a team has had bases loaded and nobody out and doesn't score. I've lost nerfies when there's 2 outs, nobody on, and 2 strikes on the batter. Right. And so like I'll never complain. It's one of those things. It just happens and you just roll with it and you just deal with it. And you move along for it. So doubleheader between the Yankees and the Pirates. Mitch Keller, Garrett Cole scheduled for game 1, and doubleheader between the Orioles and the Red Sox. Dean Kramer and Jake Bennett scheduled for game 1. Always list your pitchers when you're looking at doubleheaders because these managers do decide sometimes the day of the game to switch it up and have a guy go game 2 instead of game 1, et cetera, et cetera. So pay attention to that.
You're listening to this podcast, so I know you've got a curious mind. Here's a helpful fact you may not know yet. Drivers who switch and save with Progressive save over $900 on average. Pop over to Progressive.com, answer some questions, and you'll get a quick quote with discounts that are easy to come by. In fact, 99% of their auto customers earn at least 1 discount. Visit Progressive.com and see if you can enjoy a little cash back. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. National average 12-month savings of $946 by new customers surveyed who saved with Progressive between June 2024 and May 2025. Potential savings will vary.
What would you do if your online store converted 36% more shoppers? You could take 36% more vacation.
Another pina colada? Yes, please.
Open a new retail location with 36% more square feet.
Fantastic.
Hire 36% more help.
You're hired and you're hired.
Shopify has the world's best converting checkout, up to 36% better than other e-commerce platforms. What you do with those extra sales is up to you. Switch to Shopify today at shopify.com/listen and get a $1 trial. Shopify.com/listen.
Well, David, while we have you here on our Tuesday night recording, Wednesday morning edition of Better Day presented by FanDuel, as you will join us throughout the football season each and every Wednesday morning here on this pod, recording Tuesday nights. And while we have you during the PGA season here, we have to get your card for the upcoming tournament. It is the 3M Open here this weekend and the return of Scotty odds. The 3M Open in Minnesota up on FanDuel features Scotty Scheffler as a plus 260 favorite. The second favorites in Kurt Kitayama and Maverick McNeely, 25-1. That is being back to Scotty odds.
And you don't see this often, but it's one of those perfect storms where it's not a strong field. In fact, it's a terrible field in an event that's back in the United States after you had an Open Championship over there, so no one ever comes and plays it. Really what you have is guys who are trying to battle, and we'll get into this in a minute, guys are trying to battle to get into that top 70, which is the FedEx Cup cutoff for the playoff that's in 3 weeks. You have the 3M, then you have the event in Detroit, and then you have the Wyndham before you get to the playoff. So you don't have star power, and for reasons that I could not possibly explain, the world number 1 decides to play in this event. So not only is he a prohibitive favorite, but he's a favorite of numbers that we have not seen since the Tiger days. And listen, is he the best player in the field by a large amount? Yes.
Yes.
But a betting analyst cannot go on your show and give a plus 260 guy to win the event when there's 154 other golfers in the field. So, Scotty Scheffler going to win this event? Probably. Can you bet Scotty Scheffler at plus 260? Absolutely not. And I'm not going to go too much further down the board because I actually like a guy who happens to be the second favorite. And you don't normally get second favorites at plus 2,500, 25-1, Kurt Kitayama. But without even looking at the odds, Kurt Kitayama was a guy that I was going to play this week. I like the fact that he's 25-1. Obviously, you get him longer in other events. He's usually in the 40 to 50 range. But he's probably the second best player in the event. And if you can't play the plus 260, I can tell you to go play the 25-1. I've played Kurt Kitayama, Scott, a bunch this year. I love his iron game. He's 10th on approach, 8th in greens hit, and 20th in driving distance, which is above average for this field. But what I really like This is a TPC type course, lots of dog legs, lots of trees, water every now and then. You got to be precise, and you got to be able to hit from longer distances on approach because of the layup tee shots. He's 15th on tour, 7th in the field in iron shots from 175 to 200. And a majority of the iron shots into these 18 greens, or 14 non-par threes, become 175 to 200 yards. Your typical TPC layout, you see a lot of those shots. He's 3rd in the field in shots gained on non-difficult courses. At this particular course, TPC Twin Cities, tied for 6th in 2024. Last year, he won the event. Course record 60 in the 3rd round. He's a boomer bust guy. He's a guy that could shoot 60 one day, 80 the next. I've played it. I've seen it. I think this guy can win. I've actually had him when he's gone 63, 80 in an event. 25 to 1, I like him. I also like him top 10 plus 230. Kurt Kitayama, he's who I'm using in my one and done, and he's, to me, the best value on the board when you're not being able to take Scotty Scheffler, who, by the way, cashed our top 10 best bet last week that we gave out right here on Better Day. Scotty Scheffler, top 10 minus 135 last week. That was a winner.
Would you take a shot on first round leader for Kitayama? 40 to 1 right now up on FanDuel.
You could. The guys that I'm looking at for first round leaders are the ones that did not play last week in the Open and didn't have to have a 6-hour flight over there, or maybe someone who missed the cut and got over earlier, a little bit fresher. But Kitayama's not a bad play considering he can go low and then go high the next day. I have won a Kurt Kitayama first round leader before and then watched him shoot a 75 the next day.
All right. Well, there you have it. The 3M Open taking place in Minnesota coming up here this weekend. Scotty Scheffler, overwhelming favorite up on FanDuel, as I mentioned, plus 260. David, have you been following the SEC Media Days this week? You getting into college football mode a little?
I have. I actually went on on Tuesday on Sportsline. I was on HQ. And I gave out some SEC plays, as a matter of fact. If you want them on the show, I can tell you what I gave out. It was based on SEC Media Days. They decided to jump right in it, and they asked me for my favorite win total, my favorite over, my favorite under, my team to win the SEC, and the team to make the college football playoffs. So I have those if you're ready for them. Whole another section in the Better Day newsletter.
All right, I'm going to guess right now, okay?
Right, let me over.
Okay, I'm gonna guess just your SEC. I'm gonna guess your. Do I want to start? You want to start with the win totals? All right, I'll start with the win total here. I think you went over on Texas 9.5 wins.
I did not go over as my best over. I do like Texas over 9.5 wins, but that was not my bet. They asked me for 1 over, 1 under.
Okay, so that's not your over. I'm gonna say okay, so that was wrong. I'm gonna say you went. Oh, are you a homer or no? I'm gonna say you went under Florida 7.5.
I did not do Florida 7.5 because I was sharing the limelight with Zach Simony, and I knew he was on Florida over 7.5. Okay. So I passed. I let the background speak for itself, and I called Zach the smartest man on television because he went Florida.
All right, so what was your over and what was your under?
My over was Alabama over 8.5 at plus 100.
Okay.
I looked at the schedule, somewhat of an easy start. They get FSU at home, which is an epic revenge spot. Lay the number in that one. Almost cost them season last year, losing in Tallahassee. They come out and beat the crap out of Florida State. They have a 5-game stretch where they got Georgia, at Tennessee, A&M, at LSU, and at Vandy. 5-game stretch. I think the rest of the schedule's easy. You got to go 2-3 in those 5 games to hit 9 wins, if you ask me. And last year they beat Georgia, they beat Tennessee, and they beat LSU, which helped them get to the playoff. I think they get to 9 wins based on the schedule they have. Austin Mack should be the quarterback. He was backed up Ty Simpson for all last year. The defense is going to be awesome as usual. It's also a big season for Kalen DeBoer. I mean, call it what it is. He may have made the playoff in both years.
Yeah.
Job's on the line because job's always on the line when you're not Nick Saban. That's the over.
What was your under?
Under was a tricky one because I actually like the new hire in Lexington in Will Stein. I think
Well, he said they're going to win because of him.
I think they will eventually, but I don't think it's this year. All due respect to him winning because of him, the former Oregon offensive coordinator. This is a complete rebuild in Lexington. Complete rebuild, big transfer portal. Some people think it's going to be the next Indiana. Slow down, right? Indiana was a perfect storm of all perfect storms. They got a Notre Dame transfer quarterback in Kenny McKinney, who's going to take some time. But look at the schedule again. Last year, they got 5 wins. 2 were versus MAC teams. 1 was versus Tennessee Tech, and they beat Florida and Auburn in off years in the SEC. Also ended the season losing by a combined 86-17 score to Vandy and Louisville. I don't see 5 wins on this schedule, even with a good young coach. Youngstown State and South Alabama, fine, give it to them. The other non-conference game is Louisville. They lost by 125 last year to Louisville, so not going to give them that win. Road games at College Station, road game at Norman, road game in Vandy, road game in Tennessee, and road game in South Carolina. Your home slate, Bama, LSU, and Florida. That's not an easy schedule. All 3 of those teams are going to be good this year. They avoid Texas and Georgia, but they don't face Arkansas and Mississippi State, who's the bottom of the barrel. Under 4.5 for Kentucky. I don't see 5 wins.
And your SEC champion, is it either Georgia or Texas, or did you go completely away from the chalk?
That was exactly what I said on air. It's Georgia or Texas. Sure, A&M made a run last year. They went 11-0. Alabama's always involved. You know, Lane Train's going to take over in Baton Rouge. At the end of the day, it's Texas and Georgia.
Yep.
And until Texas, Sarkisian, and Arch Manning show that they can actually beat Georgia, which they haven't in the 3 matchups over the last 2 years, including 2 SEC championship games, Georgia, and Georgia have won those 3 games. So until Texas and Manning can show me they can beat Georgia, you got to go Georgia. So I have Georgia winning the SEC at plus 280.
All right, there he is. All right, David. Well, you got the Betting with Behrman podcast coming up here on this very same Believe Podcast Network, also presented by FanDuel. Make sure you guys check that out. Behrman Bets will be coming back in full force and better than ever. So you guys have to follow David Behrman on Twitter to get all the announcements about Behrman Bets. And yes, David Behrman is a part of Better Day and will be joining us each and every Wednesday morning throughout the football season, recording late Tuesday nights, so you guys can get all the plays from David Behrman. For your Better Day premium members coming up, you'll have those plays. We might sprinkle some free plays as well, write-ups. It's all going to be a part of everything that we're doing here this fall. I've told you we're going to be making more announcements this week about all of our fall coverages, and David Behrman is a part of that as well. So looking forward to it, Behrman, and appreciate everything you're doing. Can't wait to see the latest rendition of the new and improved Betting with Behrman.
It will be new and improved. We're going to be on a different platform. We're going to be going on the Ghost platform just like you have. We'll be adding some stuff. We may even make it maybe more than 3 days a week. We shall see, but it'll be bigger and better, and just give me some time before I launch it, hopefully by early next week.
There you have it. That'll be on BehrmanBets.com, guys, of course. For David Behrman, I'm Scott Seidenberg. Here's hoping to make today and every day a better day.
If you like the show, please take a moment to rate, review, and subscribe. It really does help the show to grow. Thank you for listening.